So today we have with us Coach Lucas Smith and some of our senior football athletes from this year. I had a chance to sometimes be on the sidelines and take pictures the last couple of years and watch the team a little closer from a sidelines perspective than maybe in the stands or anything else. But I got to give kudos to Coach Smith, his staff, and the players on the team. It's a true blessing to watch you guys play every Friday night, so you guys give it your all. I know you might hear some fans boo and complain and different things, but no matter win or lose, I think it's a real blessing to watch you guys perform. You're very athletic. You give it your all the time. I say that to everybody, even when things aren't going right. You're always trying, and you know, it's heartfelt. I think to some of us out there, and you give something back to the community by playing that sport and playing the other sports that you do. And I think that's a gift to the community, because we get to sometimes live in those moments when you're trying to catch a pass or doing a running play or just being active on the field or a basketball court or a baseball field. It's a blessing for our community to have young men like this and women do what you do. So thank you so much for all that you do for our community, for yourselves, and for your team. That's very nice. But I wanted Coach Smith has talked many times here at Rotary and does a wonderful job. And today we are blessed again to have him present some of his players and come and talk about his program this year. So please give a warm Rotary welcome to Coach Lucas Smith.
Well, thanks for having us again today. Hard to believe this is year 12 that I've been doing this, coaching football here for 12 years already. And I think the older I get, the faster time goes. You know, the kids are getting older and we're busier and busier, and man, I felt like I had all the time in the world when I was, 23, 24, 25, and you couldn't wait to get older, and now you get older and you wish things would just slow down. So I'm going to start here with my guys that made it. Well, first, I had 3 guys that couldn't make it: Eric Chapman, Mason Comiso, and Jonah Gipple. Both Eric and Jonah. Eric had, I don't know if Eric ever played in a varsity game because he was hurt his junior year and his senior year, and that would have been huge to have him this year. And then Jonah Gipple, second quarter of Archibald, week 1, tore his ACL. He was a starting wide receiver in DB for us, so we lost him early on. And then Mason's not here; he's home, not feeling well or whatnot. So, but Mason had a tremendous year for us. I'll share a few individual awards here that the guys received, but I'll have these 5 guys come on down here, share a little bit, and then I'll take it from there.
Hello, my name is Jordan Tunis. I'm a senior at Hicksville High School. I play 3 sports: basketball, football, and baseball. My parents are Eddie and Jody Tunis. I have 3 siblings: my brother Peyton and my 2 sisters, Alexis and Michaela. My grandparents are Rexanne Tunis and Eddie Houston. My plans after I graduate are to attend Bowling Green State University and major in early childhood education. I would like to teach 1st or 2nd grade and be a high school basketball coach. My favorite memory from this season is beating Sonora after everybody doubted us. And my favorite memory from my whole football career is going for 2 to beat Edgerton my sophomore year. I've learned many things from football, but the few things I will never forget is to always be accountable, always be coachable, and always do your job to the best of your ability.
My name is Jacob Miller. I'm the son of Bob and Nikki Miller. I have an older brother named Justin, and my grandparents are Rob and Sherry Miller and Joe Krakowski. After graduation, I plan on attending Ohio State or Cincinnati, majoring in business with a minor in medicine. And from this football year, my favorite memory would have to also be beating Sonora. They were on a 5-game win streak, and they shut out 3 teams in a row, so it just showed how good we could have been this season. And I learned this year that no matter the numbers on your team, as long as you stick together, good things can happen.
My name is Brant Balser. My parents are Nikki and Neil Balser. My grandparents are Tom and Kathy Cameron, Jim and Barb Powell. I have 2 sisters, Riley and Lainey, and 1 brother, Brody. My future plans after graduation are to work construction for James Miller at Border Line Construction. My favorite memory from this season is when we beat Sonora. And my favorite memory from the entire football season or career was my freshman year when beating Sonora when we were down and came back. And what I learned from football is that if you ever fail at something, just forget about it, move on, and never give up, and always be accountable.
Hi, my name is Braden Langham. I have an older brother and a younger brother, Brody and Brant. My parents are Mike and Jamie Langham. I play baseball and football here at Hicksville, and my favorite memory of this year was probably, even though I didn't play, was Sonora, watching the team just build up together and do well and play hard. And my favorite memory over all 4 years of football was probably my freshman year, catching the game-winning touchdown against Edgerton, which was pretty great.
Hi, my name is Hunter Betts. I attend HHS, and I think my future plans are to go to college at BGSU for early childhood education and become a teacher and teach in 1st and 2nd grade in really any subject. And throughout football, I've only played 1 year of my high school career, but I think my best memory was just learning and developing myself, and not only with myself, but with these guys. And I think what I've learned the most from football is just to hold yourself accountable and be you and work through everything that's put in front of you. And I think my best memory is really the bus rides. It was always fun, laughing and joking, not knowing what's going to happen right after we get off the bus. And I think no matter what, they always showed me how to have a good time and just be yourself.
Thanks, guys. It's always kind of neat to hear as a coach I just kind of gave them a few things to talk about, and it's always kind of neat to hear what their best memories were or what they learned. So it's always nice to hear the word accountability, because I preach that stuff to those guys all the time. So it's kind of nice to hear that. Overall, we finished the season 6-4, which I think for us is I wouldn't say a down year, but a little bit below our expectations, because we didn't make the playoffs again. That's kind of what we're creating here. But then I kind of look back at the season, and at one point, I think last spring, we had like 42, 43 guys said they were going to be playing football. So, things were looking good. Then all of a sudden, 29 guys came out. And then of those 29 guys, we had guys hurt and injured to start the season. Most of the games we played with, I think, 25 guys we had dressed. There were Tuesday practices. We only had 23 there, and for these guys to keep battling through and just be coachable and that sort of stuff, and still finish 6-4, I think is a pretty decent record here for us. But with that too, the 4 losses we had were to 4 teams who were in the playoffs. 3 out of those 4 teams all won a first-round game and moved on to the second-round game. And so, looking back on it, low numbers, the teams we lost to were pretty decent here too. So some of these guys received some individual awards. I just kind of want to talk about those real quick. Both Jacob Miller and Brant Bowser were all GMC honorable mention this year. Braden Langham was a second-team all-conference player. He kind of got hosed there. But I talked about that. The voting process, the way that stuff works, basically, when you go 6-4 and don't make the playoffs, you're not going to get very many guys voted in first team or whatever. That's just kind of how it works. I've told these guys, I'll tell all my future teams too, if you want the individual accolades, those come after the team goes far. And but Braden was also honorable mention all district too. So Travian was a second team all conference kicker for us. We're going to miss him a ton there. Mason Camaso, who's not here, he was the only guy that was a first-team offensive and first-team defensive player for us. And he was also second-team all-district. If that kind of gives you an idea, Mason had a really good year for us. And he's been starting since he was a freshman. Braden, you've been starting since you were a freshman. I think Brant, you started since you were a freshman. Travian, sophomore, junior, or South junior. Okay, this was Hunter's first year. So we've had a handful of these guys who've been playing for a while. As far as the all-district stuff, again, kind of goes back to when you don't make the playoffs and go 6-4. I mean, you're just you might get a guy on that first team stuff there. Brant Balzer was also our Bill Seitz Lineman of the Year award. We started that award 8 years ago. I forget, Bill Seitz passed away about 8 years ago, and he wanted all of the memorials given to Hicksville football. So we kind of created an award for him and kind of in honor of him, and that goes to our best offensive lineman of that year, and that was Brant. Travian was our special teams player of the year, just did a great job kicking and punting for us. We were without Travian for what, 4 games? Had his appendix removed and stuff, and so we were without him, and Travian's also one of our starting center. So for 4 games, you had to play without your center and your kicker and your punter. You know, Brant, you missed 4 games this year. Braden wasn't around for Tenora. You know, Hunter missed a couple games. You played in all of them, right? Jake played in all of them, and Mason played in all of them. Was that it? The only 2 seniors that played in all 10 games. You know, our Noah Carrickson, Mr. Hustle Award winner, we gave that to Mason Comiso and Cole Wortman for 2 different reasons. And these guys know this from the banquet. If anyone came to our games and watched Mason Comiso run the ball, you know, you could tell that he was giving it all every single time he had the ball. And then also Cole Wortman, if you guys don't know Cole at all, he'll be here next year with me. Hasn't missed a single day of weightlifting. He played, I don't know how many different positions on defense and offense. Basically, he was a kid, if I said, hey, I need you to do this week, he just went, okay. His least favorite job was playing nose tackle against Edgerton. Because there was once or twice he ended up on Edgerton's sidelines, out of bounds. The kid had annihilated him that much. But by golly, he got out the very next play and went at it again. So that was a Mr. Hustle for us. With Jake here, Rob and Sherry Miller were our Good Ace Award winners. I started that after Jack and Nancy my first year here, just with Jack and Nancy's shock, just doing everything they do for this community. Specifically for the football program, I wanted to kind of honor them, and so we give that award out every year to somebody in the community who kind of just goes above and beyond for the football program and for these guys. And that goes back for me, Rob and Sherry, when I had Jacob's older brother Justin in football, and she was doing the moms, you know, she was involved with the moms club there, and the grandmas were making playoff dinners for us. So I've got a long history with them. And then our Steve Schlaughter Award winner went to 2 guys, went to Braden Langham and Mason Comiso for their leadership that they had both on and off the field for us. So I got a few more things I just kind of want to talk about with these guys. I usually end all of my little presentations or speeches with a poem, but I kind of want to start this last part off with it. And the poem is, I saw a group of men in my hometown, a group of men tearing a building down. With a heave and a hoe and a mighty yell, they swung a beam and the sidewall fell. I asked the foreman, are these men skilled? Are they the kind you'd hire if you wanted to build? He laughed and said, well, no indeed, common labor is all I need, for I can tear down in a day or 2 what it took a builder 10 years to do. I thought to myself as I walked away, which of these 2 roles shall I play? And I can tell you these guys, last year we went 6-4 again, but we also lost to Antwerp. I don't that's a whole different thing. But I tell you what, these guys came to me as we got ready to go in the spring, and they were like, we need to get back to having a hard summer. Because the year before that, the upperclassmen wanted a fun summer. They wanted to, you know, do a little bit of lifting and let's play kickball or let's have some fun. And I said, fine, let's have your fun. And then come let me know how that works out, you know, during the season. And, you know, you lose to Antwerp and don't make the playoffs, you know. Kind of went back, and these guys were like, we got to get back to having hard summers. Okay, we want it to be miserable. We want Jake North, who's one of our trainers, to run our summer conditioning, because you guys know Jake's brutal. I used to have that sickness when I first started coaching, like I want to see people miserable. I kind of lost that a little bit, but Jake North still has it. So I turned the summer program over to Jake, and he buries these guys. Okay, but again, we only had 25 healthy people throughout a game, with only about 15, 16 of you played. If you're not in shape, you're not winning. So it takes a lot of sucky things, a lot of conditioning and lifting. But these guys took that stuff. They saw what needed to be improved, and they built upon it. They also, I told you guys, we started out pretty bad. We got beat bad against Archibald, 56-0. Which, as the season went on, Archibald, you could tell they were better than I think what a lot of people thought they were going to be. But these guys started out losing 56-0. We beat Crestview the following week, and then we had a really bad game against Eden. Again, starting the season 1-2. And then they rattle off, I think, 5 in a row, beat Tenora, beat these teams all with 20-some guys. They just kind of kept building upon it. And I tell you what, this might have been the most fun in a long time I've had with a group of guys. Because, like they talked about being coachable, they were. They came to practice every day, and if we told them to do something, they did it. They watched film, they put in the work, and it was just a really fun group to be around. And finished the season, like I told you guys earlier, 6-4, but those 4 losses were to playoff teams. There's 4 things I really like to focus on. It's physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual with those guys, kind of building that foundation. And I've kind of already talked about the physical stuff, and we're very blessed. I know Mr. Countryman's here. Our administration, last year, we started a strength and conditioning program during the school day. So these guys have a chance to be with me for weightlifting every day, all year, for all 4 years of high school if they take it. And it can just help. I don't care what sport you play, it is helpful. And what people don't realize, it's not just helpful here, it's here and here. The confidence, the emotional there, it takes these guys to a new level. Mentally, I've encouraged these guys to, when we spend a lot of time on this stuff in the preseason, talking through all the different rules of different special teams, different situations, trying to make sure mentally we knew what to do in certain situations. I'm amazed by how many times players and coaches don't know the rules in certain situations. And we spent a lot of time on that stuff. Spiritually is where I really kind of try to pour into these guys. A lot of our offensive plays are biblical names. We have Moses and Abraham and Isaac and Nineveh and Jonah, and they were able to tell kind of some biblical stories. Like, for example, Jonah and Nineveh. We can tell that story, and Jonah is our bubble route where we're throwing a bubble, and then because Jonah was told to go to Nineveh, then our Nineveh is our fake off of that stuff. So we're able to kind of tell these guys some biblical stories, which I think helps kids remember what you're trying to do too. If you can tell a story to go with it. But we try to build some of that little foundational stuff into them. I've told these guys a lot about the number 1111, and just took me digging some research, because it's a time I always see 111, 1111, and I went through and I found in 2 Peter chapter 1 verses 1 through 11, it talks about the elect, and then down in verse 5 it says, "This is why you make every effort to add moral excellence to your faith, and to moral excellence knowledge, and to knowledge self-control, and to self-control endurance, and to endurance godliness, and to godliness affection for others, and to affection for others love. For if these are yours in increasing measure and are growing in you, they will keep you from becoming ineffective and unfruitful in your knowledge of our Lord Jesus Christ." And so we're always trying to, not just from a biblical standpoint, try and tell these guys, like they did this year, keep going, keep trying, don't make excuses. Keep going, keep adding. If we didn't do this right, that's okay. Let's fix it the next time. Let's keep adding, let's keep adding, let's keep adding. And it was pretty neat. The one junior wasn't here, but I see that time a lot. And it was the Tenora game. It's been brought up several times. Near the start of the 4th quarter, something happened, the clock stopped. I looked up at the time left on the clock, and I turned to the kids, I go, "Look at the clock." It was paused at 11:11. And I'd already told them the story about everything that's going on. Last year I had all kinds of stuff with 11:11, and even earlier that week, there's little things that it wasn't like it was God saying, "Hey, you're going to win this game." It was like, Lucas, just keep going. Keep dealing with the frustrations. Yeah, you got 29 kids, big deal. Stop making excuses. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep adding to that. Emotionally, though, too, this is where I struggle. I think this is where guys in general struggle. Like there's times, us guys don't want to show our emotional side or our sensitive side. We're taught from little kids to kind of suck it up, be tough. But I really want these guys to take a good look at their heart. One thing for me, it really hit me this year. Friday nights have been my least favorite night of the year. And you would think if you talk to most football coaches, they would say, "What's your favorite night?" They'd say Friday nights. Well, my least favorite is Friday night. And so I had to do a little bit of a gut check there and start thinking about, well, why? Why is Friday night my least favorite night? And the more I thought about it, it was like, and my practices, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday are my favorites. To me, that's when you're teaching. That's when you're coaching, you're teaching, you're pouring into these guys. Fridays, there's not a lot of coaching and teaching going on. It's more just dealing with situations, and trying to win. And I think put a wall up Friday nights, because it's like if I let myself go and just be so invested in the game and then we lose, there's that heartbreak. And you kind of put that wall up to make sure your heart doesn't get broken. And so I was telling these guys to cut it loose, give everything they got, but yet I was kind of holding back, a little bit. And so one game we went over, took the big trip to Lakota, and I had gone through all the guys, and I looked up kind of the biblical names of their, the biblical meanings of their names, and kind of went through all of that. Your name means this, your name means this, your name means this, your name means this. And then I recited a poem to them that I'll finish up here. But then the more I thought about this, and here's where I made a big mistake this year, with parents' locker room. We invite all the parents into the locker room for one pregame talk. And, the parents are in there. It's a neat night. It's nice because the parents are taking pictures. They have some of those keepsakes. But also it's kind of neat because it's like, here's your football family. And then all of a sudden, here's all the parents, some younger brothers, sisters maybe in there. And it can be kind of neat. And I've had a bunch of, like my parents. My dad was a teacher at Antwerp for years. And I have an autistic brother that about 2 years ago at this time was having a lot of behavior problems. He still lives at home. We had to call the cops, to come get him because my parents are they're 70 years old. They can't quite handle him, so I've had to do a lot of stuff there. And so, it's just been kind of not a bad thing, just, puts things in perspective, I guess, for you. And it's parents' locker room, and I'm sitting there, and I couldn't think of what to tell these guys or tell the parents, and I basically had no emotion at all. And I walk into that locker room, and my dad's standing there. It's like, oh, dang it, and I went from having nothing to say to I had a ton of stuff to say, but I couldn't say it. I had to go to the bathroom, and I'm sitting there, wiping my eyes and this kind of stuff, trying to think about, okay, and I put the wall up again. And I should have went out there and talked to everybody, and if I broke down, I broke down and not worried about it, which I did at Lakota, didn't I? I go through this poem. I can't get through the poem. I'll probably be somewhat lucky to get through it today just because, it's one of those things as a dad, but it's called, I have it hanging in my son's room, and my dad was Rick Edward. My grandpa, Paul Edward. My dad was Rick Edward. I'm Lucas Edward. My son is Zane Edward. So the Edward, the firstborn son in the family, gets the name Edward, as the middle name. And so I went through all these guys with their meaning, their name, the meanings of their names, and then said this poem to them. I said, your name is so important. You got it from your father, a gift he was so proud to give. It's yours to use and cherish for as long as you may live. If you lose a gift he gave you, it can always be replaced, but a blemish on your name, son, can never be erased. It was clean the day you took it, a worthy name to bear. When he got it from his father, there was no dishonor there. So make sure you guard it wisely, and when all is said and done, you'll be proud your name is spotless when you give it to your son. That's the part that gets me every time. You're passing that down. Sorry, guys. I told myself I'm not putting the wall up today with you guys. So, I love these guys. I care about them a lot. It's not just about football. It's about trying to pour into them. Give them something to think about that they can take down the road with them. So, with that, I'll shut up so I don't break down. And does anyone here have any questions for me or any of the kids? If you got a really good question, we got some extra footballs to throw to you here.
The only thing I'll say, I felt like this year that they probably did one of the best jobs of not giving up. Of the teams I saw in the past and stuff, you know what I'm saying? I mean, they'd be down in games, they're down, but they would come back. They didn't give up and come back. I mean, I thought it was impressive.
I was proud of them. I just look back on that 6-4. I had higher expectations at the start of the season, but as everything progressed, and like I said, only having two of the seniors played all 10 games. I mean, it's tough to win with kids who aren't juniors and seniors, and these guys found a way to keep it all together. You guys are a pretty close group of guys too, which makes it way more fun and effectful. Mr. Countryman?
How many 6 o'clock lifting times have you had this year?
None.
Thank you, right?
Or the year before. Thank you to administration for weightlifting during the school day.
That's why we did it, so they didn't have to get up.
These guys playing multiple sports and trying to find a way to not just, football you lift, it's kind of automatic. It's part of your program you lift. But basketball, baseball, other sports, it's hard to get them in the weight room. Some of these kids are in the musical too, and it's like, where does a kid lift if they're coming in at 6 a.m. in the morning, then going to school all day, then going to baseball practice, then going to play practice till 10 o'clock at night. Something's got to give, and administration came in big time and got us that class, which I love my new job. I went from being a special ed teacher for 17 years to now I'm all health and PE and weightlifting. So it's good. Anybody else have any questions for me or the boys? Yes, Mike?
Working with your younger underclassmen, are these guys getting your numbers back up to where you'd like them again? I mean, do you have some of your seniors, juniors, working on the younger kids to stay in the program and persevere?
One thing these guys, Jake, Travian, you guys coached the third and fourth flag, right? I think, yeah, Jake was champion. I think these high school guys that coached those younger kids had more fun than the little kids did. It was fun, wasn't it? Coaching's fun. You know, so I think those younger kids got to be a part, you know, and we do something with those third and fourth graders. They finish off their season, their Super Bowl or whatever, then they come in the locker room, we have pizza for them, they're kind of hanging out and looking around the locker room. Clint Zedike did our 5th and 6th grade this year, and he would always have 2 or 3 kids every game that were his players of the game or whatever. So those kids, even on our away games, were down on the sidelines with these guys helping out with water and stuff, just trying to, you know, give them something to look forward to. Anybody else? All right, thank you guys.